June 28th. Welcome to my little corner. Grab a coffee and let's get smarter together. All material things seek both their lowest energy state and to be at an equilibrium with their surroundings. This requires a version of bonding between the particles, as the assembly and disassembly of structures involves energy transformation and flow, as well as an increased capacity to process and store information. The patterns inevitably will become ever bigger, since all particles will only arrive at their lowest state of energy, in which they are at an equilibrium with their surroundings, once all particles in the universe are part of the same structure. I explained all this in more detail in the posts of the last 2 days, so go back and watch them. The final structure will be made up of partial patterns, which all use different mechanisms to connect, though it is highly likely that all these mechanisms will be variants of a few basics. Smaller patterns are always only transitional stages to bigger patterns that again will be absorbed by bigger patterns until we are at the stage of the one big pattern. Hence, smaller patterns unable to form structures with other patterns are dead ends and will eventually dissolve, so their parts will find paths into bigger patterns. Each human is a minuscule pattern. As such, we are important as long as we understand ourselves as a transitional stage, looking for ways to become a part of a bigger pattern. One thing this doesn't mean is that we become like cells, merge and submit to one will. This structure was tested, and there's a reason why megaflora and megafauna is either extinct or endangered. Thinking of this in levels of patterns sorted by maximum size, bioelectricity as merging mechanism has hit its ceiling. Hence, in next level patterns, it's to be assumed that the parts must retain a certain degree of freedom while still connecting into a stable enough structure that as a whole later can be absorbed by a bigger pattern. What freedom? And when I ask the question, I think of it in terms of directionality. When we talk about freedoms today, we treat them like possessions of a single human. And our understanding of possession goes back to the Roman law. In this sense, possession is not defined by the loan permission to use something, nor the loan permission to enjoy the thing's fruits. That's covered by concepts like lease and rent. The defining factor of possession is the loan permission to destroy that thing. In the last consequence, this means that freedoms centered on the individual human, small patterns, as we humans are, and going out from this small pattern are tools to destroy. Destroy what? The next level pattern. Remember when I said that a smaller pattern that's unable or unwilling to connect with other patterns is a dead end? The larger freedoms of the individual part of a merging next level pattern should be rather defined from the next level pattern down. I think here of certain heavy molecules that certainly have no capability to hover or fly. But arranged correctly in the shape of a creature with wings, they do. Energy flows through the assembly and disassembly of structures, and information flow are intimately connected. And that creates an ebb and flow of rules. Every newly formed structure unlocks greater potential variety in future structures, but it also comes with attached probabilities, since not all structural forms have the same likelihood of occurring. In other words, every new structure generates spontaneously new rules. The more the freedom compared to merging, when humans bond should enable the individual part to go through basic combinations and structural permutations like atoms that shape a molecule. Take C6 a C6H6, 6 carbons and 6 hydrogen atoms. There are 217 different ways to hook these 12 atoms together that all obey the rules of chemical bonding and stability. C7H4O, that's 7 carbons, 4 hydrogen, 1 oxygen, 11,332 possible structural forms. And with each new element added, this number climbs. What does this mean practically? Individuals who are free to create and or find their place within the large structure, but with the main goal in mind to become a part of it by becoming a part of a combination and structural permutation within the large structure that makes them feel at ease and comfortable. It looks a lot like the 3 freedoms David Graeber, the late David Graeber, and David Wengrow say our ancestors assumed. The freedom to abandon one's community, knowing one will be welcomed elsewhere, also known as bond and become a part of the selves of the others, just as the others become a part of oneself, what leads to mutual goals and mutual care, sharing to the point where everyone is comfortable to go out and explore instead of exploiting existing knowledge more often than not, because the partners for as well as the ways in which the next level up pattern can be formed must be found. The freedom to try out different structures to see if emerging rules are better fits. And the freedom to disagree and to debate different structural permutations at any time with everyone always willing to allow even fundamental change. This is based on the respect the structure must have for every single part it is made up of, and the fact that the need for an even higher level pattern arose because the one will strategy of merging had met its limits. It's a lot. Start somewhere. Start with yourself. Explore, also known as think. Make a habit out of thinking. Let's turn thinking into the norm again. Like, comment, share, and follow, lest you miss a single opportunity to improve yourself and society. Once you do, we'll meet again at the coffee pot.